You are first, correct? Yeah.
Hi, Charlie. I hope you are doing well. My name is Hayden, and I think I can change your mind on an issue in 90 seconds or less.
Wow. Okay.
I'd like to respectfully challenge your view on the moral culpability of mothers in abortion. From what I understand, you view most post-abortive mothers as victims of the abortion industry rather than as murderers themselves. This view concerns me because victims don't need to repent and confess sin, but murderers do, and there's tremendous reason to believe the vast majority of mothers getting abortions are murderers. 91% of women who get abortions are age 20 or older, and 59% have previously given birth at least once. Less than 1% of abortion patients cite their husband, partner, or parents wanting them to have an abortion as their most important reason for having the abortion. A 2011 study of over 15,000 abortions found that 43% of abortion patients chose to view their ultrasound, and 98% of them still proceeded with the abortion. Even in Wisconsin, where there's a 24-hour waiting period, informed consent laws, and mandatory ultrasounds with verbal descriptions of the baby's heartbeat, development, and visible body parts, 89% of women at a Milwaukee clinic still chose to go through with the abortion, with 93% reporting they were the dominant decision maker. All this information supports my view, but is largely unnecessary, since Romans 2 tells us that the law of God is written on every human heart, including those of the women who willingly murdered their children by abortion. If this is not clear evidence that most mothers who procure abortions are guilty of the sin of murder, then what evidence, if any, could I provide to persuade you?
Okay, so just to be clear, maybe you should explain more to the audience of your view. You are an abolitionist, is that correct?
No,
okay.
Sir. So I believe that we shouldn't retroactively prosecute women, and abolitionists don't believe that either. But I believe that
some do, but I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, so I believe that we should pass a bill of equal protection that protects all human life equally from conception and doesn't give special murder rights to mothers.
I mean, at least can we agree that abortionists should first be prosecuted before anybody else? Can we agree on that?
I don't think that we should delay providing equal protection to preborn humans, and we would be delaying it by giving mothers special murder rights.
We're just not going to agree on this. I don't, regardless of all those stats, I don't think women are given informed consent when they get an abortion. I don't think they quite understand what they are doing in most cases. And I think it's also somewhat deeply destructive if we're trying to make the country more pro-life, to like your opening argument being like, we want to go lock women up in jail because they got abortions, many of the time under pressure, being paid for by somebody else, so on and so forth.
Well, that's not true. As I mentioned, only 1% of women, according to a 2004 Guttmacher study, said that their parents, partner, or husband wanting them to have an abortion was the primary reason that they did it.
Okay, I'd have to look more into that. I mean, I guess in a perfect world, if a woman gets an abortion in Michigan, what do you think should happen to that person?
Yeah, so if a bill of equal protection has already passed and didn't give the mother special murder rights, then she is willingly breaking the law by murdering her child, and she should be prosecuted for murder.
Yeah, again, I don't share that view, and that's fine. I think that the abortionist is the one doing the murdering, and in some case, the woman knows what she's doing. In many other cases, she's not given informed consent. But also, this is a little bit of a superfluous argument, because we're in Michigan, where I think they just passed abortion into the Constitution, right? And so, I mean, at some point, this is like a hypothetical argument that is so far distant. Like, maybe let's talk about first, I don't know, repealing back some of the most aggressive pro-abortion policies in our country, right? Well, and just to be clear, your position does turn off like millions of people just from your opening salvo. That makes us seem like insanely unreasonable, as if we're like all of a sudden not going to lock up women, many of the times who have no idea what they're doing, in vulnerable positions. Again, I actually, as a pro-lifer, have a heart for women that get abortions most of the time, because I think they've been lied to by an abortion industry, be told that it's just a clump of cells and not a human being. Whereas, I'm not trying to criticize you, the way that your approach comes across is, like, let's just say, charitably very cruel to a young woman, where she just hears, you know, she's going to go to jail if she gets an abortion. Do you think that's going to make the country more pro-life, your perspective?
So a quick follow-up on that. So I would agree that we can take the political realities into account when trying to form policy and laws. So if, for example, you're in a state, and for like Oklahoma or Louisiana, where you have a pro-life majority, and you think to yourself, okay, we could pass a bill of equal protection, but if we do that, we might see a backlash in the next national election. That's a political calculation. I'm fine with people making that. But my disagreement with you is it doesn't seem like this is a political calculation, but rather a moral judgment that these women are victims and not murderers.
I actually think they are victims. We just disagree.
Okay, so what evidence could persuade you?
Well, nothing that you cited, but just anecdotally, when anecdotally, which does form opinion, and I'd have to find more data, I know women that I've met that have gotten abortions almost always have a second or third party assisting, subsidizing, or notifying them in doing that. Secondly, a lot of the women that have abortions, they're filled with regret, because many of the times of the people I've met, maybe you have different experiences, they say, if I would have known the complexity of what that actually was a human life, they would have maybe made a different decision. So we just disagree. I have a different approach, and thank you for your time today. You tried to change my mind, but you did not. Thank you.
Can I have a hat?
Okay, sure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yep, thanks.